What's good, everyone? This is RawTruth Media, giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Please like and share this video throughout all social media platforms. You know what, family? I'm excited about this matchup. The matchup I'm talking about, Jackson State versus Alabama A&M. Both teams are 3-2. Both teams are hungry to prove teams wrong, the doubters wrong. And let me start with Alabama A&M. Alabama A&M, they have 2 losses in the season, one from Vanderbilt and one from Southern. But after that, and let's be honest, family, Quincy Casey has been playing well. And when Quincy Casey plays within the offense, when he's focused, when he pays attention to the attention to detail within the game, he's really good. And I listened to a press conference from Coach Maynard earlier within the week, and he mentioned if Quincy Casey starts playing too emotional and going away from the offense, he's going to be on the sideline. I'm glad he said that, because as a player, you don't want your emotions to get the best of you. For those who have kept up with Jackson State within this journey, Quincy Casey used to be the quarterback here. And the craziest part is when Shedeur Sanders was on this team, there were shines saying it was not fair that Shedeur Sanders was the starter and it was daddy ball, quote unquote. Now y'all see how great Shedeur is. No one's saying that anymore. And it takes nothing away from Quincy Casey. It just is what it is. When you bring a coach and their son has talent, and Shedeur was a 4-star quarterback, of course he's going to get a lot of the reps, unless the quarterbacks that was on the remaining roster plays at a level that's even above him. But let me digress. Quincy Casey is going to play his heart out in this game. He wants this game really bad. Coach Maynard wants this game really bad. But don't leave the fact out that Jackson State's recharged. They needed this break. Jackson State, y'all heard me say this a bunch of times. 4 straight games, a couple of neutral site games, but it's pretty much 4 straight away games. That's taxing for any team. When you play a bunch of road games, you're going to have a lot of injuries, which Jackson State had within the interior line, both offense and defense. Key players being out. Your routine as a team is thrown off when you have a bunch of road games. Having 4 straight road games is not normal. And hopefully in the future, Jackson State could at least have 5 home games, at least 5. That's not asking too much. Here's some keys where I want the Jackson State defense to be dialed in. Quincy Casey has thrown for over 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. Here's a key stat, 1 interception, so he's not turning over the ball. JSU must create turnovers. I believe if they create turnovers against Alabama A&M, it's going to affect their psyche. When a team has not been turning over the ball, and then all of a sudden they start turning over the ball, it's going to be a shock to them, and it's going to throw them off their game. See, when you play teams that usually turn over the ball but are still in the game, they're used to it. It doesn't mentally affect them. But if you make a team like Alabama A&M, who has done a good job of taking care of the ball, you get them to turn over the ball, you never know. They may do things out of their characteristics football-wise. And then the running game is pretty solid. England, their running back, and he's from Houston, by the way. Shout out to him. He's running for 200-plus yards, 5.1 yards per carry. Murrow, the other running back, is their leading rusher, over 300-plus yards, 6.4 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. So their running backs are averaging some good, not good, but great yardage. Just don't assume that Alabama A&M is only a passing team. Yes, they like to pass. That's what Coach Maynard likes to do. But they have shown the ability to run the ball. Alabama A&M has tall receivers. Keenan Hambrick is 6'4", 200 plus pounds. He's their leading receiver. Be on the lookout for him. Expect Coach Maynard to look at the Texas State tape and just try to air it out and try to at least draw a flag or a deep play. He will do that all game. The corners at JSU, Wiggins and company, they have to look back at the ball. They've been doing that this year, but they have to do it technically sound. I believe in the corners at JSU. Don't just look at the Texas State game and think they don't have good DBs. They have talented DBs. But if you, just like you saw Texas State is scoring on everybody. Shoot, Texas State scored 50-plus points on Southern Miss. Texas State scored 42 points on Baylor, the same Baylor team that just knocked out UCF. So I think the media and everyone else was overreacting how good that team is. And when you play against a team that explosive and you have injuries, that's what's going to happen. Not making excuses, but anybody in this conference would have got destroyed by Texas State. But not just Hambrick, that Alabama A&M has weapons. Gardner is a speedy receiver. And then the number 3 receiver, Cameron Young, he's pretty solid as well, about 10 yards per catch, 200-plus yards. The other 2 receivers in Cameron Young, Gardner, they're pretty much undersized receivers, but they're speedy receivers. So they have a mixed match of good running backs, tall receivers, scat, undersized receivers who are speedy. You got the big play, tall receiver in Hambrick. So they got, meaning Alabama A&M has a slew of receivers. Jackson State has to be focused, has to be dialed in on the defensive end. All I want to see from Jackson State, besides special teams that needs to be rectified, sound defense, fundamentals, and tackling. You have to tackle in space. If you don't tackle Alabama A&M's receivers in space, they'll make you pay all game. Now to Jackson State. What I want them to do, especially on the offensive end, get all the playmakers involved. We know that Maurice Harris is a great offensive coordinator, and he will have his team prepared. The team is rejuvenated. But hopefully we get to see more Seven McGee. I see his speed. I see the talent. He just came back from injury. You know how those things go. I won't be surprised if Isaiah Spencer gets more rotational minutes. So far, he has 100-plus yards and 1 touchdown. They're going to keep feeding Rico Powers. Rico Powers is close to averaging 20 yards per catch, and he's just getting started. Irv Mulligan is unstoppable, and when you have that tandem with him and Aubrey Miller's brother, Ahmad Miller, who is a freshman, who is averaging 6.8 yards per carry. So what it tells you is that Jackson State's offense has so much potential to do more. On paper, it's all about execution and punishing defenses. When I look at Alabama A&M's defense, they're a lot better than last year. Not even close. They're overly aggressive, especially in the safety position. Take advantage of that. Play action. When you have running backs like Irv Mulligan averaging pretty much 6 yards a carry, and then I mentioned Ahmad Miller, 6.8 yards per carry, and then Moultrie is averaging 5.9 yards per carry. What does that tell you? You need to run the ball more until they stop it. Nobody in the SWAC can stop this running game. The only team that slowed down this running game was FAMU. Southern kind of did it. Kind of until the second half. But pretty much no one can stop this run game. So I wouldn't be surprised if Coach T.C. Taylor and Maurice Harris develop a game plan to incorporate the run in a creative way to set up the pass. That's the key thing right there. Have the run set up the pass for bigger plays. If there was a unit that needed this bye week more than anyone else in Jackson State, it's the Jackson State defense. With injuries, fatigue, playing on 4 straight road games, I expect them to be recharged. I expect the DBs to have another pep on their step. And speaking of pep on their step, Isaac Peppers is a dog. If you're Alabama A&M, know where he's at all times. He's a madman right now. He's playing like a man possessed. He wants to hit, knock the crap out of people. And this is the best way for Jackson State to do going forward throughout the season. You have to increase the physicality. To make a team quit, you got to bust them in the mouth. This sounds like football talk, but this is real talk. And y'all know how I do here at RawTruth Media. You need to send a message by knocking the crap out of someone. Again, this is football talk. But this defense has so many interchangeable parts. From the DB position to the D-line position, they're a lot better than what they have been playing lately. And with this needed rest, I think the defense can cause some turnovers. But we'll see what happens. But it should be a fun game. Jackson State versus Alabama A&M. Something got to give. Both teams are 3-2. Tell me who you think is going to win in the comment section and tell me why. This is RawTruth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Stay blessed, and I'm out.